I really enjoy what you've been able to do with the program. So start off by introducing yourself and telling everyone what you do and what you're working on currently.
So my name is Jeremey Halteman. I'm a clinician with Dankmeyer. Been working in prosthetics and orthotics. Been certified since 2015. So I've been in the field for a while and have been doing digital work for several years. Started off doing some simpler CAD, doing test sockets. We've been printing test sockets for a long time.
Nice.
But yeah, we're trying to get more and more towards the definitive side of things.
Yeah, no, and I can imagine that must be really challenging. How did you do it before Fusion 360 and ZBrush or using other things like this? Like, what was your first software that you started with?
So we've done a lot. Well, the first thing we started with was CanFit, and that still works very well for modifying the shapes that you want to use to interface with the lens. It works very well for modifying. It's very precise. You can change. I want to build up here. It's very clinician friendly. Lower learning curve. You don't have to pad, but that's a little bit limiting as well because you can't do some of the advanced designs. So we started with CanFit, got really good at making patient shapes and printing those check sockets, and got a pretty reliable process for that. But then as we started wanting to get more and more complex with the designs and bake more things in, do different designs, we've used a little bit of Mesh Mixer. We've used a little bit of Nomad Sculpt, which is an iPad modeling program that's surprisingly good. I still use that because it's just really easy.
Yeah, no, I've heard good things.
Yeah. And then we use, there's a really easy CAD. It's called Shaper 3D. It's a based CAD. It's very quick and easy to draw things. It's probably actually faster. Well, I don't know. I've just been using it more. It seems very, very quick to draw things and draw shapes and extrude shapes and faces. But what it lacks is the assembly ability and then the difference between step files and CAD shapes and mesh shapes. It doesn't interface with those very well. So going to Fusion 360 with the T-spline space and with ZBrush and the more powerful modeling software, it's really expanded where those previous softwares have taken us surprisingly far. It's allowed us to go a lot farther in complexity and number of assemblies and
that's really cool.
And CAD.
Yeah, so the freedom of a 3D printer is only limited by the freedom of the software is sort of how I kind of like to think about it, right? So
good way to put it.
It's a really good way to sort of do it. So what have you been able to achieve now that you weren't able to achieve before in your journey? So not like describe some of the cool complexities that you're able to achieve doing this.
Right. So really the ability to go between working with mesh or mesh-like shapes, right, with T-splines, and working with CAD parts, right? You can do assemblies a lot better for a socket. Previously, we would use we would use Shaper 3D to draw something up, and then I could Boolean that in with Nomad, but I had to keep my polygon counts just insanely high to get good detail, and then you can't go back and forth. It kind of bakes everything in. So, with Fusion and ZBrush, you can, well, at least in Fusion, you can make those changes. And I really like the ability to pull in other assembly parts. So I could draw up an assembly part and shoot, if I decide to make a change, I can edit that assembly and it automatically, or you can make it populate into your new drawing or your current CAD model. So I've used that a number of times. And yeah, just the ability to build more of an assembly.
Nice.
With more parts.
Yeah, so how does this change the value that your practice sees, that your patients see, and like the value your device can bring, right? With all of this integration, what is the patient experience at the end, do you think?
It allows us to build, I think it allows us to build better devices. More complexity, just the level of complexity that it's really hard to replicate with traditional fabrication. I'm still working on an arm that's taking me a while, but the level of complexity that we can put into this design is significantly higher, and it would take a lot longer in traditional fab. It would be a lot more complex, very time intensive. And I'm still learning, so I'm still slow. But
well, the first one's going to be twice as long as the next, right?
Right.
Wow. So you had a chance to go through some of the courses that I've wrote, and you've given me some great feedback. And what was your experience of the coursework overall? Like, how easy was it to uptake if someone's new and they're looking to do what you do? Like, how did you find everything for them, and what would you tell them?
Um, the coursework is very easy to follow, to go through. It's easy to work along with the examples. I mean, my method was to just watch it through and not build it, and just watch it
Watch
and
it.
understand what it was, and then go back and watch it and build it.
Yeah.
So I could kind of burn through it really quickly and get through the course the first time. But then to go back and reference those and to actually build the models is really, really helpful. I would definitely recommend doing that. If you just watch it, you're gonna be lost pretty quickly. But then, I'll even still go back and reference, like, I know where it is in the video, and I'm like, how did he do that? I still go back and try to find those parts.
That's fantastic. And the scrubbing,
yeah.
right? You get like 2 times speed. You can get half-time speed if you want to.
Yep, that I found that really useful, especially for the first time watch through. I want to get the knowledge. I want to understand the process. So yeah, I watched it through at 1.5, 2 times speed.
Yeah.
And then going back, play 30 seconds to a minute, couple of minutes, pause. Okay, let me do this.
Yeah.
So it was a very nice format to do that in.
Nice.
But then once I got through the course and kind of you understand the concepts, it's still, give yourself time, right? It still takes time to, like, okay, I know these things, but again, when you're assembling them in a different order for a different device, it still takes a minute to get the feel for the software. So it's still a learning curve, but it certainly has a lot of potential. And as you build your library of the parts that you're going to use, you build it and you don't have to build it again, right? So
yeah, and you can polish what you build too, which I kind of like to do, because like the smoothest running templates that I use for AFOs like have hundreds of hours behind them of just me going in and finding an optimization or breaking it for the 10th time and being, oh my god, fine, I'll go and fix the template and go in and rewrite something, right, so it runs better. And then 2 years later, this thing's running like butter, and before it was breaking down all the time. It's just, and you learn a lot going that way, right? But I think a lot of people are afraid of complexity, which is why this route hasn't been taken before. So, like,
right.
Is this going to be for everyone or not? I don't know. I think, you have to be of a certain kind of mindset and an innovator to sort of, take this on as a new tool chest item.
Yeah, I don't think this is for everyone. It's not for every clinician. Let's put it that way. I think this is something that sooner or later, most practices it's gonna make sense to do things with definitive 3D printing, with more advanced CAD skills. So, we have clinicians here that would not want to dive into the level of complexity with Fusion 360 and ZBrush and all that stuff. But there are some who would. So there's definitely value in having at least a couple of people that know how to do this.
Yeah.
And then, the level of, okay, I just want to modify a socket shape. That's a much lower bar, lower bar. You can teach almost any clinician. You can teach really any clinician to do that. But when you go from modifying the shape to, okay, now we're going to output something with levels of complexity in parts and assemblies, that takes a completely different mindset.
Yeah, it does. Nice. Well, I appreciate you taking the time just to talk to me about all this. It's exciting to see it slowly take off, and I think people like you are just really showing the full potential of it. So, here's to the future of doing digital design literacy with your Fusion and ZBrush.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a learning process. I love learning, and you're always going to be able to find something new. So, yeah.
Nice. Well, thanks.